Does your child struggle to get ideas on a page? Do they struggle to even come up with any ideas? You're in the right place. How can we help our kids generate ideas? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm Marina Gabor with Summit Writing Academy. Welcome. We are going to talk about or tackle the topic of content, how to get it created, or at least how to start generating ideas so we can get rid of that blank page. If your child has ever looked at a page and said, I can't do this, I have no idea what I'm writing, let me know in the comments below. Has this happened to your child? Sometimes kids will be able to write a certain kind of writing, but not another kind of writing. Perhaps fiction. Oh yes, they've got stories and stories and stories. Or perhaps they can write reports like crazy. But when it comes to the other kind of writing, maybe the reports come easily, but they have no idea when it comes to story writing. Or perhaps they can write a lot of stories and reports and essays. They just freeze. They don't know what to write. So let's see if we can get that problem solved. What is the solution? What is it? Well, I'm happy to tell you it's a fairly simple solution, and it's something that is teachable. So drum roll, please. Yes, we need to teach our kids how to ask questions. Now that seems super simple, but let's dive in a little deeper. What does it mean when we say they need to ask questions? I mean, think back to when your child was 3 years old, and what question often came up? Type in the comments below. What question did your kid ask when they were 3 years old? This is a super common thing. It's a stage, a developmental stage that they are asking this question. And if you've typed why, yes, why? Why? They probably asked so many times you felt like pulling your hair out. And if you answered, they would say, but why? And if you answered that, but why? And it kept going. They were curious about life. They wanted to know. They didn't know the answers. So why? Why? I need to learn all this information. But as they grew up, something happened. That curiosity sometimes gets a little squashed. Sometimes the pressures of life, being told, shh, not now, squashes that innate desire to know, that curiosity, that questioning. And then we come to writing stories, we come to writing essays, we have the prompt, we have no idea what to do. Kids have forgotten how to ask questions. Has anyone been there? Let me know. Let me know. A curious mind asks questions. A curious mind digs deeper by asking more questions. So the key here is the questions. But can curiosity be taught? So they were curious when they were 3 years old. Then that kind of got pushed down or diminished, and maybe not even intentionally. Life happens. Can we teach this curiosity? What do you think? Is it a teachable skill? Well, curiosity is related to critical thinking. Can critical thinking be taught? Well, if the number of books that have been published about critical thinking and teaching critical thinking, I would say yes, critical thinking can be taught. And also tied to critical thinking is logic. And there are a number of logic books. Perhaps you have one on your shelf. Logic can be taught. So if critical thinking and logic are related to curiosity, can curiosity be taught? Does that logically make sense? I think it does. So that's the good news, because if it's a teachable skill, then we can teach our kids how to be curious and promote that curiosity, which is going to be the tool that's going to relieve them of this frozen blank page terror. So we're going to start with the basics. Who, what, where, when, why, how. 6 questions. Kids are probably familiar with them, but we need to train them to use it as a tool when they encounter the blank page. So they get their writing prompt, whatever that is, fiction or nonfiction, and they just run it through the questions. Who, what, where, when, why, how. And they ask that question about each of about the prompt. Now you say, yeah, well, maybe, but their ideas are going to be weak. Of course they are. No problem. Maybe they'll get 125, 250 words out of those questions. That's okay. We've got a good start, right? But as they get comfortable and they realize, oh, I have questions in my toolbox. I see the prompt. No problem with the blank page. I'm asking these questions. And then we can get them to go a little bit deeper and say, well, who else? What else? Where else? And so on through the questions to expand their thinking a little bit more. And then we can get them to start making connections. So we're going through that same list of 6 questions, but perhaps it's who is connected? What is connected? Do you see how we're thinking a little bit deeper now? Where are there connections in my information? So they're starting to ask deeper questions. And then you can go deeper still and say, what if? What if this and this happened? Or what if this didn't happen? Or what would happen if something else came into this situation? So we start expanding their thinking. And the next thing you know, you're down this rabbit trail and you've got tons of ideas. In fact, then the problem is, how do you narrow it into the information you need for the composition? But that's a great problem to have, right? That we can work with. Then we have the ideas. Think about it. When a potter makes a pot, they need some clay. They need some clay to work with so they can shape something beautiful. So this question generation and getting the answers to those questions, that's creating this lump of clay that then the student can shape. And not all the clay is going to end up being made into that pot. No problem. We have enough and we can choose what we want in the final product. So we want to guide our child in creating this logical flow of information and ideas in their composition. So curiosity, we're simply asking questions. And we're giving them the tools. We're saying, ask these basics. Then start saying, what else? And then start saying, how is this connected? And then, what if? And that will give them a lot of information to work with, a lot of content to work with when they're shaping their conversation, their composition. You're going to start bringing back your child's curiosity. Once their mind is exposed to and gets used to asking these questions all the time, it's not going to be limited just to when they end up having to write a composition and have that blank page. So a word of warning, in your schedule, make sure you've budgeted time in your day so that when your child asks you questions, You have the time to direct them to a resource, to answer the question, to dialogue about the question, because that's learning. More learning is going to happen there too. It's going to be a spillover of this built up curiosity, which is great. This is what education is all about. This asking and answering, this exploring, this curiosity. Now, if you're looking for somebody to guide your child through the questions to help them create throughout the writing process, Summit Writing Academy can help. We've got a free 14-day trial, no credit card required, no strings attached. You can give it a try. Students will even get feedback on their composition. Doesn't have to be a long composition. We just want to get students started. Get them asking questions, build that curiosity. And you're going to find over time, as they develop their curiosity, their compositions, the depth of their compositions, their thought life is going to be richer. Now, if you have any questions about all this question stuff, please do write it in the comments below. I'd love to continue this conversation and ask. Get your kids to ask questions. And until next time, have fun.